fun fact. But yeah, let's move on to Om's team. Now let's talk about RCB. RCB have been hit and miss this season, but they've been above average, I would say, which is a surprise. But two of their retentions, uh, Kohli and Mohammad Siraj, and Maxwell, actually, all three of their retentions haven't been performing well. Obviously, we talked about match impacts, and in the bowling match impacts, Mohammad Siraj is at minus 76.2, which is the third worst. Kohli is uh, the fifth worst with in batting with uh, with minus 65.2. So those two haven't been performing for them at all, and they've been in quite bad touch. What's your take on that?
Bro, I mean, if you look at the entire RCB lineup, we talked about Glenn Maxwell. He's hit almost 200 runs and a strike rate of 167. I don't think we can ask for more than that because we've been getting runs from everywhere around him. So I don't want him to do more. I actually just wanted to play 30 runs of 10 balls and get out because that's what he can afford to do because of what we have below. So Faf du Plessis and Virat Kohli is absolutely useless. So just play him until he becomes good. If he ever becomes good, maybe he does what Shane Watson did for CSK, which is be useless the entire season and then score a century in the final.
Finals,
If he
yeah,
does
yeah.
that, if he does that, I will bow down to him. But other than that, Rajat Patidar, he's been a beautiful find. He's playing aesthetically pleasing shots, and he's like lighting the IPL on fire, which he did not do last year. I think he's a great find. Number three, he provides a lot of stability. He does Virat Kohli's job for him, so Virat Kohli can get out for duck every single match.
Yeah, Rajat
So
Patidar is an opener at this point.
yeah, Virat Kohli has gotten out golden duck 3 times in the IPL before this season, and he's just doubled that this season. Across all the years IPL has ever been played. Other than that, so the top four is pretty sorted. Glenn Maxwell plays one innings in how many games have he played? 12 games. Glenn Maxwell plays one innings in every 4 games. So we can expect the next innings to be in the 16th game, I think. One would assume a 17th game. So that seems like a good time to play a good innings in the quarterfinals, or I mean,
Seems
in the playoff
unfortunate
game.
because it seems
Yeah,
unfortunate because RCB won't even reach that stage.
we'll see. We'll see. Um, other other than that, Dinesh Karthik, as we said, 30 from 8, fastest 30 ever in the history of the IPL, and he's been fantastic as a finisher. In the last over, he's hit I think 73 of 21 balls. This is absolutely insane. That's a strike rate of 300 plus. Like just in that 20th over. So as a finisher, he's been perfect for us. Other than that, even if we have someone like Virat Kohli, just assume he's a constant failure. So even if we have someone like Rajat Patidar and Glenn Maxwell fail, we've seen that you can always rely, or you can rely on someone like a Maifal Lomra, Shahbaz Ahmed to take you through those middle overs because they've been batting really well. We've not needed Shahbaz's services over the last couple of games, especially in the batting department. But if the time comes, we've seen that he can play those innings like 40 from 25 and whatnot. Mahifal Lomra has been an absolute belter. So the one thing that's good for RCB is if Faf and Rajat Patidar can play slowly till like to the 10th over mark, or like play like they did in the last game till the 10th over mark, then every single player after that has the capability to hit 30 runs from 10 balls, and that's all needed for them, which is great because you can add real like fiery batting power. And I think that's what that's the make of a good team, right? You have people who can anchor, and then you have people who can absolutely destroy. So I think we have a 3-to-4 ratio of that, and I think that's quite good. Talking about their bowling, Josh Hazelwood, I don't know how he does it, but he's been absolutely magnificent. He's bowling the exact same length, and players can that test match length, and players cannot play that length. When the pitches are slowed down, he's been employing his knuckleball, and he's been bowling the cutters and the slower ones, and it's holding in the pitch, and he's getting the wickets that he needs. I think Harshal Patel is back in form. We've seen that he had a bit of a dip after he went to his family because his sister died. So rest in peace. But he's back in form. I think he's bowling really well. He's in a good rhythm. He talked about how he has to employ his he has to vary the sequencing of his slower balls and on-pace ones and boost his bouncers and yorkers. So I think we should see that come more often. Other than that, I think Hasaranga, we've all seen what he can do in the last match, 5 for 18, best figures in this IPL. Glenn Maxwell, Shahbaz Ahmed are coming in once the pitches are started to grip and turn. It obviously helps the off spinners more because it helps the finger spinners more because you can get the grip out of the pitch when the pitches wear down. So I think they've been fabulous. They've been consistently getting wickets. Maxwell got 1 wicket in the last game, I think, and got Williamson out, run out the first ball on his bowling. He didn't get the run out, but a run out was gotten. So I think the bowling line is quite sorted. One change that I've noticed is Mohammad Siraj is playing the role that Akashdeep was for RCB. So he's no longer opening the bowling. It's been Maxwell, Hazelwood. So he comes around the 5th over and then he bowls through the middle and finishes up before the death. I think that role is suited for a bowler who is not at the top of his game. And it allows for him to go at a lesser economy. So I think that's the best role RCB can give him right now. And I think it's good. They don't need to drop him. They need to play him the entire season. You've played him so far. Don't drop him for anybody else. So I think RCB look very sorted, and they have the most chance of qualifying. I think with out of the teams 4 and below, they obviously have the highest chance of qualifying. I think it's at a 40% chance, something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was like 35 or something around that.
Yeah. So I think they can qualify because we've seen every single team that's beaten them. They've come back and absolutely marauded them. So Punjab and Gujarat beat them the first time. I hope to see the marauding that happened to SRH and CSK happen to Punjab and Gujarat, but only time will tell.
Yeah, I mean about RCB, they were on a 3-match losing streak. It was looking pretty bad for them, but they've obviously turned it around with wins over CSK and SRH, both teams that they lost to earlier in the season, right? CSK was obviously CSK's win earlier on, and RCB got revenge on SRH after the demolition that was the 68 all out. So yeah, as much as it, and yeah, as Om said, RCB's bowling is looking pretty good. Harshal Patel's back in form. One to Saranga, obviously. Towards the beginning of the tournament, he was getting wickets, and now with the fifer and Hazelwood as well. Ex CSK player, even if it was for a limited amount of time, and man didn't even play much. It was pretty much we just used his replacement more, burned off. But either way, I as much as it pains me to admit it, I would have to say that RCB would. I think RCB would qualify because they're looking pretty solid at the moment, and I think with the performing DK, anything is possible. I mean DK never really dipped from form, but either way, yeah, I think RCB is looking pretty good, and I think they'll qualify. For all the talk, for all the shit we give them, I think RCB would still qualify.
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly playing really good. DK, obviously, as Om mentioned, tied first, fastest 30 runs in the IPL with an ex-RCB player, who's AB de Villiers. Obviously, he's finishing games at the end really well. Should play for India, yes. But yeah, he's been doing really well. Kohli, not well. Patidar has been a good find for them. Hazelwood's been doing really well. RCB are looking pretty solid. Another thing I want to mention is RCB actually have Karan Sharma in their team this year, and Karan Sharma has won 4 IPL titles, all with different teams, and he seems to be a good luck charm. And so maybe that'll work for RCB because they have Karan Sharma in right now. But yeah, I think that's all for RCB. Om said mostly everything, and yeah. So I think that's it for our weekly recap of all the teams. Just a final.